Okay, so we're going to play it without the capo, just to get a sense of it, and then we're going to go through and learn the inner lines of it. I'm going to play the inner lines so we can kind of hear them, of the D chord and part of the E minor. Just to get it started. So here's the tempo, and here's the line. And here we go. It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk. That makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. And it's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds, and the ink stains that are dried upon some line, that keeps you in the back roads by the rivers of my memory, that keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy planted on their columns now that bind me, or something that somebody said because they thought we fit together walking. It's just knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiven when I walk along some railroad track and find you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, and for hours you're just gentle on my mind. Though the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us, and some other woman's crying to her mother 'cause she turned and I was gone, well, I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and the summer sun might burn me till I'm blind. But not to where I cannot see you walking on the back roads by the rivers flowing gentle on my mind. I'll dip my cup of soup back from the gurgling, crackling cauldron in some train yard, with my beard a rough-knit coal pile and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cupped hands round the tin can, I pretend to hold you to my breath and find that you're waving from the back roads by the rivers of my memory, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind. And we'll end right there. Okay, so over the D, you'll notice that we have this melody going. And it's within the D chord. Let's just try that first, just to sing it and to kind of hum it. So say the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, which is a D, which is the tonic of that chord, the root note, and then you go to the 2nd fret, and that would be the major 7th. Now play open, and that would be the 6th, and then back to the 2nd, and then back to the 3rd. Now just play that ding, do, 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 And now we're going to add it to the chord. And the way to do that, you just got your D chord as per D chord. And then this is kind of the first kind of move. Take that third finger off and then flatten your index finger down a little bit. So all those notes are ringing from your D string down. And your index finger is flattening onto the second fret of the second string. And then, well, let's do those first two. So you've got the D chord, and then you remove your third finger. And now the next one, you go on the tips of those two fingers so that the B string can ring. And it takes some practice because you really gotta be sensitive to being on the tips of your fingers. And then you flatten it again to get back to where you were. So we've got the D. This one's called D major 7. And this one's called D6. And then back to D major 7. I'm going to take a break because there's such huge dents in my fingers right now.
Aaron, when you're playing the D6, do you play the first string too, or do you stop at the second string?
I try to play them all. I try to play all of those 4 strings, like from the D string down. So. But you could. Yeah, that's a great, you could almost leave that first string open. And then you'd have this interesting D sus chord. When I watch Glenn Campbell do it, he does play it, but that is a way to do it. Because the main thing you want to hear is, and sometimes this finger will mute that note out, right?
So, or it just rings out a bit more, so it kind of hides the B string.
Right. Yeah, that's a great observation. So as long as you're hearing that note, that's kind of the most important thing. So. And then it's putting it into the. So I'm going to play root, strum, root, strum. I'll slow that down. So the root being the root of the D chord, the D string. Major 7, D6, D major 7, and then you can try doing 2 bass, or sorry, like you can try to double those up. So bass, drum, bass, drum, bass, drum. In the notation, I'll just kind of flash back to the chart here for a second. When you see I add the D just to kind of keep track of the phrasing, because the phrasing is slightly different for some of the different verses, depending on what the lyrics are. So sometimes it'll go through one kind of full pattern, D major 7, D6, and then back to the D major 7, and then to the D. But sometimes it goes a little bit less, and sometimes a little bit more. But whenever I've kind of annotated this, that kind of shows that that's your home base back to a regular D chord. Has anybody got any questions or kind of things to add to that might help other people to kind of understand it that I haven't quite covered? It's mostly just being on the fingertips. It really gets you used to kind of being on those fingertips, particularly for that last chord, right? Which is great practice. So then the E minor, and I admittedly, like I learned what I listened to the bass line and listened to the song a bunch of different times and watched. And before tonight, I was doing this. This is over the E minor chord. I was doing that more than Glenn Campbell does in the videos that I've showed, but that has no... Well, this is what we're going to do with it anyway. So you play your E minor. This time the voice, it's the major, it's just the root of the chord. So this note here under your third finger is an E. And then, because your middle finger's here, to get this next note, you're going to use your index finger. So that's on the first fret of the D string. And then open. So let's just do that. So we've got second fret, first fret, open. And now let's try it with the E minor chord. So we've got the E minor. Now put your index finger. Now take it off. And then you can put it back on just to hear what it sounds like. And then back to that melody note again. So the voice that's moving, if we play it this way, just from this string down, say from the fourth string down, just like we were playing the D from the fourth string down, it would sound like this. So really there's a lot of empty strings, right? Or open strings, I should say. Now I'm going to try with the bass note. So and now with the fourth string as a bass note. Just to get that motion. 4, 6, 4, 6, 4. Can you kind of hear what I'm doing? I'm alternating the bass notes by going from the fourth string, strum, sixth string. So say, just do it on the E minor for a second. 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6. Right? Any questions about that? It's a good, solid kind of driving rhythm. And now I'm going to start adding that line. So here we go. We've got the 4, 6. With that moving line, second fret, first fret, open, first fret, 2, 1, open. This is a lot going on right now. Boom, 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 the notes are E, D sharp, D, D sharp, and it is a E minor with a major 7, with a minor 7, with a major 7, and we'll just end right there. This is what we're hearing. Let's do one more thing with that, because I know how challenging that can be initially. So just to hear it, this is another great exercise and something you can kind of add to the mix. So we're just going to go back to single notes. So just the second fret of that fourth string, and then play the sixth string. Now first fret of that string alternated with the 6th string. Now the open D string to the open 6th string. First fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret, open, 1st fret, and we'll just stay there for a second. Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I found that was a good way of working up to it, alternating between the 6 and 4. And it kind of got the pattern going, and then I was able to more or less keep that going.
Great. Great. Yeah, it's nice to get a piece and then kind of isolate what's important and simplify it in a way that, by simplifying it, it makes it a lot more clear. It gives it a lot more clarity just to pick those two things out. And it also gives you a chance to recognize it's like, okay, that's within, it builds up the, it builds up the technique for one thing, and the ear for it too, which is kind of develops with the technique, is to really have a clear sense of what you want to hear, like really be kind of accurately listening to it. And those kind of connections are really, they go a long way. Should we go through it again a little bit? Do you want to try to put that into context at a slow pace? Let's just take a look to see where we're at with it. I don't want to just play this so much that you don't like it anymore, but I don't think that's going to happen, because this is how we're learning. So, starting with the D, and we'll bass, 6. Here we go. It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk. That makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. And it's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds, and the ink stains that are dried upon some line. That keeps you in the back roads by the rivers of my memory. That keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy planted on their columns now that bind me. Or something that somebody said 'cause they thought we fit together walking. It's just knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiving when I walk along some railroad track and find that you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, and for hours you're just gentle on my mind. 'cause she turned and I was gone. Well, I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and the summer sun might burn me till I'm blind. But not to where I cannot see you, walking on the back roads by the rivers flowing gentle on my mind. I'll dip my cup of soup back from the gurgling, crackling cauldron in some train yard. With my beard a roughening coal pile and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cupped hands round the tin can, I pretend to hold you to my breast and find that you're waving from the back roads by the rivers of my memories, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind. Ever smiling, ever gentle from the back rivers of my memories, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind. And we'll end right there. Great.
Yeah, it's coming along, but I find that the words are so complicated that you're trying to keep up with the words as well as these chord changes and then finding your place again. And so, yeah, that's going to take some practice.
I think I've listened to it at least 1 million times by now, just in the last week, just to try to get the phrasing. So, not to, but it's one of those songs that's really worth learning. I tried to tag the ending there, took a chance, didn't go back to the right spot, but yeah, great. Thanks for doing that. It's a beautiful song, and there's a lot of nice stuff to learn in there. There's a lot of finger independence, and there's a lot of coordination that goes on with the lyrics too, right? Like there really is. So it's nice to treat it that way, to really isolate some parts and then slow it down and just take your time if it's a song, with any song, but that's one that's a little bit more, it's got a little bit more going on in terms of its, how long you hold on to the different phrases and then trying to get it all going at the same time. So great. Okay, I'm going to pause this.